Have you ever had a time in your life where you thought a certain result would turn out differently to how it ended up being? We've all had a chance to experience the pain of unmet expectations. Over this past week, being on break from university, I've had a great opportunity to reset and recalibrate. But something has continued to come up in my mind, specifically the question of why we feel so low when something doesn't quite live up to our expectations, and conversely, why we feel so high when something exceeds our expectations. It's a simple question, usually paired with a simple answer. It's just the way things are, we're told. It's just the nature of reality, and that we just have to take the good moments when we can and live with the bad moments. However, what I've been learning in response to this is that if we put too much of our hopes into the outcomes of a situation, then we're inevitably going to be let down in some way sooner or later. On top of this, we can sometimes make it even harder for ourselves when we assign our worth or we assign our happiness to a particular outcome. And in doing so, I feel usually leads us to a net negative result. Sure, we could use it as motivation to achieve whatever the outcome is. And we may even be successful. But even if we are, this kind of thinking, this mindset, is setting ourselves up for disappointment. The hardest part is that it's an easy trap to fall into. I know I've fallen into it probably more than I'd like to admit, but on the surface it makes sense to always be striving for a better life through setting ambitious goals and never settling or feeling fulfilled until we've reached that dream, whatever we're trying to achieve. The only problem with this methodology is that in doing so, we often don't realize that, albeit, yes, it does take a lot of work and effort to achieve our goals, that we can also be content and fulfilled throughout that process. Rather than depriving ourselves of some of the most important things that makes life worth living, we can shift our focus from needing our achievements or accomplishments to make us feel whole, to instead recognizing that we need to focus on the process and not the outcome, and that we are already whole regardless of what happens. When we assign our worth and or our happiness to something that's external to us in the shape of a goal or a milestone, then we're never really able to have a consistent feeling of self-worth and or happiness in our lives. We hear it everywhere. Love the grind. But the thing I see often being overlooked is that we shouldn't actually love it for the thing that is going to get us, but instead it's doing it for the sake of doing it. The daily rituals and routines, that's the part that we need to fall in love with. And in doing so, we make sure that we are process oriented rather than outcome oriented. Approaching things in this way then helps us to roll with the punches of life and flow with whatever happens as a result of our diligent efforts, rather than getting too emotionally wrapped up with whatever the result may be. We all want to do well, and it's good to have some emotional investment into the outcomes of our actions. But the main difference in this way of thinking is that we are already whole, and we are simply working on our craft each day, focused on doing our best, rather than trying to force a particular outcome to fill a hole inside of us. We need to find a way to be content with our best effort in whatever it is we are doing, because we wouldn't have been able to do any better than our best anyways, because if we could, then it wouldn't have really been our best. And to expect ourselves to do any better than our best at a particular time is usually a losing strategy. If we are to focus on doing our best in each moment, rather than declaring in our minds that we need to reach a certain mark, then paradoxically, we're most likely going to achieve a higher mark when we're focusing on doing our best rather than stressing about the numbers. From what I can see, if we're wanting to live a life where we are content with where we are and what we have while simultaneously striving to do and be our best each and every day, then this seems like the way to go. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's anything that you feel I might have missed or overlooked or you to add in, then feel free to put it in the comments down below, and I'm always open to have a conversation. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.